So if you're running large language models right on your own machine, you already know how awesome they are for privacy and for speed. But what if you could give them hands? What if they could actually reach out and interact with the real world? Read your files, hit APIs, and really start automating things. Well, that's exactly why we're going to dive into a tool today that promises to be that missing bridge, ollmcp. Here's the plan. We'll start with the big problem that local models run into. Then we'll introduce ollmcp as the solution and see how it actually connects all the different pieces. After that, we'll get into its most powerful features, but we'll also be honest about its limitations. And finally, we'll help you figure out if this is the right tool for you. All right, let's kick things off by digging into the fundamental challenge here, something that I'm sure many of you running local models have already bumped up against. Look, local models are fantastic. Your data stays private, you're not racking up a huge cloud bill, but there's a catch. They're totally isolated. They're stuck. They live inside your machine, and they can't see your files, they can't touch your databases, and they definitely can't call out to external APIs. It's like having a super powerful brain trapped in a digital box, which, really limits their power to act like true agents. And this is exactly where ollmcp comes into the picture. It offers a really slick, really elegant way to free these models from their digital prison. So, what is LMCP, really? Well, at its core, it's a terminal UI, a TUI. Think of it as a translator or a bridge. It connects your local ollama models to something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, and that protocol is the key to letting models use external tools. The most important part? It's all happening on your machine. No cloud, no complicated interface, just you, your models, and your terminal. Okay, but how does this bridge actually work? It sounds complicated, but the way it's set up is surprisingly simple. Let's just walk through it. So imagine you ask your model to summarize a file on your computer. First, you just type that prompt into the terminal. ollmcp then takes your request, bundles it with a list of available tools, like a read file tool, and sends it to the model. The model looks at it and goes, aha, I need that read file tool, and sends back a request to use it. ollmcp catches that request, calls the right tool, grabs the file's content, and then feeds that information right back to the model. And boom, the model can now give you the summary. It's this clean, 6-step dance, and ollmcp is the choreographer for the whole thing. Now that we've got the basics down, let's get into the stuff that makes this tool a real powerhouse for developers. First step is what's called agent mode. This is huge. This is what turns your model from just a simple tool user into a legit autonomous agent. Instead of just doing one thing, it can now chain actions together. So it can read a file, analyze what's inside, and then maybe write a new file based on that analysis, all in one continuous flow. And don't worry about it getting stuck in a crazy loop. There's a default limit of 3 steps, which of course you can change. Okay, so if you're going to give an AI all this power, you need a safety switch, right? Well, that's exactly what the human-in-the-loop feature is for. When this is on, the model can't do a single thing without your say-so. Every time it wants to write a file or call an API, it has to stop and ask for permission. This is an absolutely critical safety net, especially when you're just starting out and testing new agents. And this isn't just some abstract concept. This is literally what you'll see on your screen. It's a clear, simple prompt asking for your approval before it, say, writes to an important file. You can hit Y for yes, N for no, S to just approve everything for this one session, or D to turn the feature off completely. It gives you practical, hands-on control right when you need it. But of course, there's a trade-off here. On one hand, you get total safety and control, which is amazing for development because you can see exactly what the model is planning to do. On the other hand, it slows things down and gets in the way of full automation. So once you've built an agent you really trust, you'll probably want to turn this off and let it fly. Think of it as a control knob for your confidence level. And there's a whole bunch of other goodies packed in here for developers. You can connect to multiple tool servers at the same time, like one for your file system and another for GitHub. As you're building new tools, you can hot reload the server without restarting everything. You can also tweak over 15 different model parameters on the fly, like temperature or context size, and even manage your conversation history. It's a proper developer's toolkit. But let's be real, no tool is perfect, and it's really important to know what you're getting into. So let's talk about some of the current limitations you should keep in mind. Probably the biggest catch is model compatibility. Truth is, not every model out there is good at using tools. You're going to have to do a little experimenting to find one that works reliably for what you need. Another thing is that your conversation history vanishes when you close the app, which can be a bit of a bummer for longer projects. The other stuff, like a few visual glitches or brief pauses in the streaming text, are really just minor annoyances, not deal breakers. Now, to help save you some of that trial and error, the community has found that these models tend to play really nicely with tools right now. Models in the Quen family, along with some of the newer Llama and Mistral releases, are a fantastic place to start if you want to build reliable agents. So, we've looked at the good and we've looked at the not so good. What's the final verdict? Is this the tool that you've been waiting for? A recent review just hit the nail on the head. It says that if you're already running local models with Ollama and you need to give them tools, but you want to do it without a heavy IDE or any cloud services, then ollmcp is simply the cleanest way to do it. Period. So who is this for? Well, it's for the developer who puts a premium on privacy and control. It's for teams that are working in air-gapped environments where calling out to the cloud just isn't an option. And really, it's for anyone who's excited by the idea of building and running truly powerful AI agents right on their own hardware. When you step back and think about it, ollmcp is doing more than just being a utility. It's an enabler. It's bridging that critical gap between a local model's brain and the tools it needs to actually act. So the real question it leaves us with is, could this be the key that finally unlocks the full potential of AI agents right on our own machines? It really just might be.